Welcome to the Manchester United agenda. It's a really humid day in the bathtub today, and we've seen ourselves play the famous Glasgow Rangers at Midfield. Mr. B, how are you?
I'm good. It's bit weird to have a game on a Saturday, but I suppose the season's winding itself up, so it's something that I suppose we're gonna have to get used to. But yeah, I'm all good. Ready to talk football, man. How are you doing, Dora?
Great. I had a calm day. I had something a little bit to work on, but yeah, overall it was a really chill day. And yeah, this game kind of came into right time. I would say it was really interesting, which we will discuss later. But yeah, overall I had a really really good day.
What about you,
Good.
bath time?
Yeah, I've had a nice day, but I can't lie. It's a bit humid for me. I hate like a kind of wet heat because you can't sweat it out.
Could that be down to the sangria that you had yesterday? Not
I would
being able
think
to sweat it
so.
out? Yeah.
Yeah, like a little bit of a hangover this morning, but wouldn't change it for the world. Getting drunk with my favourite boys. All right. And speaking of my favourite people, should we see who's in the comments?
Yeah. Do you want me to do the comments today, bath
I'll
time?
do the comments.
Sweet.
I'll do everything. We've got Solo. Big up, everyone. Hello, Solo. Let us know your thoughts on the game. And we've also got Stephanie Griffiths saying, Young Guns Fire United. We've got a whole load of stuff from Lucky Singh. He wants to get young players in the club. Learning want win here. But don't worry, everyone. He's called the club to have conversations with them. So good luck, Lucky Singh. And Bill is saying, good evening, everyone. Lucky Singh, lay off the powder, bro. Good evening to you, Bill Baggio. I was very surprised to learn that your brother's, presumably Dino Baggio, is an Arsenal fan.
Saw that today.
Yeah. All the way from the heart of Mississippi, it's DK Wilson. And all the way from the heart of the Arndale Centre, it's Bilal. How are you, Bilal? We've got Simon Warner, hoping that everyone's had a good day. Got Big G, oi oi, Chevrolet. We've got Chat Sport. We have We Deserve Better. And nice one. All right. So we played Rangers today, Dora. Obviously, like we had the kids out in the second half, and we had a kind of first team ish in the first half. What did you think? Like, who was the standout player for you in the first half?
I haven't watched the Rosenborg game. Only first 20 minutes. It was boring as shit, as you guys know who watched it. Coming into this game, I hope that it's going to be more energetic. Especially after Ten Hag said that he had a quite, I would say, passionate and strict post-match reaction after that first preseason game, and he didn't disappoint. I felt that I think that the first 11 had a few senior players. We had Andre Onana on the goal. We had Johnny Evans. We had Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka. We had Casemiro, Mason Mount, Jadon Sancho, Amad Diallo, and maybe I missed someone or maybe not. I think at least 6 or 7 players that are actually in the first squad, right? And I was really happy from what I saw. And I know this is only a preseason game. Both teams are trying to experiment. Rangers aren't playing with their best, team as well. They are trying to attack. But I felt some patterns on play were really good. I felt that Jadon Sancho had a really good game on that left side. I think that he looked sharp, I would say. He was, really on point with his long balls. He was a few times he actually tried to change the sides of the attack. He would send the long ball on the other side of the pitch, which was really cool to see. I felt that Mason Mount had a really good game as well. you can see that guy wants to play football, and he ran a lot. He was having his runs. He had some really good passes, and in the end, he did. Had that assist for Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo was a bit quiet until until maybe a few minutes before the goal. After that, he was always threatening. Him and Wan-Bissaka on that right side. I felt that they were quite good. Wan-Bissaka was decent. I liked his ventures to the attack. However, his passing is still poor sometimes in the last third. But he tried to attack, and yeah, I felt Casemiro was miles better than that Rosenborg game. Like, we say it, nebo is zemlja. It's like sky and earth. He was the sky right now. That's how different he looked, and he was much better.
Oh, night and day.
Night and day, sorry, but we say night and day, and we have another quote like earth and sky, nebo is zemlja, which is similar to night and day, analogy, I would say. But yeah, I think overall, all of the first 11 all squad members or first 11 guys really, I would say, showed up today. I mean, this wasn't a league game. This wasn't how do you say it, anything exceptional, but I felt that they were good. And also I forgot to mention Leny Yoro debuted today, and I liked what I saw. I think he had 2 great blocks that were potential goals. I would say goal-saving blocks. I felt that he was really good with his passing. We saw long balls from Yoro today as well. He sent few of them. Some of them hit, some of them missed, but I really liked that from him. And he is quite fast, and you can see that there is a lot of potential there. He's already good, but there is a lot of potential there, and I can't wait to see him play in a high-stakes game, in the league game. To see him showcase his talent even more. So yeah, overall, I was really happy with today's game. We saw some youngsters mixed with the starting 11 guys as well. That kid helped me remember that blonde kid that played with
Collier.
Casemiro. Sorry?
Collier.
We had okay, I already forgot because my mind is a black hole. The left back kid, and yeah, there were some youngsters there, and Vetley was in the attack as well. So yeah, overall, first great half with these guys. Second half was a bit slower.
Let's get to the second half a bit later, Dora.
Sorry. Okay, I'm ruining your schedule right now. But yeah, great first half.
Brilliant, thank you. That was a pretty in-depth construction of the first half.
Sorry
That's all right, Dora. You're here to talk. Don't worry about it. Right, Mr. B. I want to start off, I think, with Ahmad. Was today literally just the fact that he didn't have the best time at Rangers, he had a bit of fire in his belly, or going into the season, do you expect him to start games?
I expect him to start games. I think he did enough last season to show Ten Hag, if he had any doubts, that he doesn't need to doubt what he can do on the pitch. Yeah, it probably had a bit to do with the Rangers situation, but the form he hit last season, bath time, I'm just glad he's carried it on. I mean, he went inside, he twisted the left back. And I'm so glad that Desai or Desiri or whatever his name was, he didn't have a chance against him today, and that's what I want. The fact that he wants to assist just as much as he wants to score. His main aim isn't just scoring, and you saw that today with his passing, and he keeps possession of the football. He doesn't waste the football. So yeah, I thought he had a really, really good game today. His goal just topped it off. The fact that we see these other teams, Saka cuts in on from that side and scores, and then we look at what Anthony does with the balls, licking people in the top of their head in row Z at the top of the strip for them. Then I'm all for Ahmad playing. I did think he did prove it. I mean, Ten Hag has said A couple of things about him having to take his opportunity well. He can't do any more than score a goal. And yeah, I thought he was really, really decent today.
Yeah, I'd also like to shout out that I saw a flag in the stands that said "Flat Earth Reds," and shout out to the Flat Earthers going to games. I really enjoyed that. But actually, I have the quotes from Ten Hag. He said, "This has to be Amad Diallo's year. We have to see Ahmad in a different way. He's not inexperienced anymore. I trust him." Which I would say that I think that with the news that we have about Anthony, that kind of pushes Anthony right down, really way down the pecking order.
I mean, just the strange thing with that is when Sancho stayed, because it's kind of been made, it's kind of been put out there that Sancho's playing on the left this season, which means that he's fighting his boy Rashford for that starting berth. And Garnacho's going to be on the left on the right with Ahmad.
Where's this coming from?
I saw it. I'm going to try and see if I can.
All right. Whilst you find that, I'll go through some comments. So I want to start off with Bill. We're going to get on to all of the players that stood out, and the one player for me that I think's time has come to an end. But Ahmad, Wheatley, and Yoro were impressive. Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka was terrible. Okay, Casemiro hit and miss. Evans was solid. The rest were okay. All right. I'm surprised about Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka being terrible. I felt he was perfectly fine.
You know, it's weird with Wan-Bissaka. He gets in the positions, but I just think he's that final ball. When you get there, I would more trust Dalot to deliver a ball that maybe the forwards could get onto. Then I think that's really the part of Wan-Bissaka's game, because going forward, he does look. He looks he looks clumsy, but he does get into the positions.
Yeah.
But then when he gets there, that final ball is never ever anything that you want to see. I mean, Ahmad played 2 balls inside in the same position. Obviously, Ahmad's skill set is different, but it can be done in that position. So I just feel that, I think that we can upgrade on Wan-Bissaka going forward. Defensively, I have no problem with what Wan-Bissaka does, but offensively, yeah, I think we've got a long way to go. That can definitely be improved.
And for me, I think the most interesting thing I saw from Wan-Bissaka's play today was that there were 2 things. One I'll talk about later when we get a bit more in depth on Yoro. But the second thing is that Onana was hitting Wan-Bissaka early and often, and it's something that we didn't see a lot of last year, like quick switches to the fullback. And I suppose that Wan-Bissaka's an ungainly player. I always compare him to someone called Pablo One-Chop, who never looked in control of the football. Derby Football Club player. But I think Wan-Bissaka's pretty good in first phase play. It's just the nearer he gets to the opposition's goal, the least effective he becomes. And the nearer he is to our goal, the more effective he is. And against Rangers, who I think you would class as a Europa League team, they might have, 10 days more pre-season than we do. They're a little bit ahead. But when they're not really offering a lot, you don't get to see anything from Wan-Bissaka, and therein lies the weakness. Dora, do you have any comments on this?
Sorry. Yeah, I would just add on that. The problem with Wan-Bissaka is that even when he started games for Ten Hag, he was always, kind of in a good, not always, but he would go to good position in the offense, and he hit some of the assists in the last 2 seasons since Ten Hag came in, to McTominay, to Bruno, that pass towards the edge of the opposing box, right? And I feel like it's not consistent enough. He has it in his locker, but he cannot be consistent enough with his passing. And I think that's a huge issue. And when he doesn't hit it, so all the hard work that he did, trying to get into that offensive,
and the team.
It's just waste of time in the end, and I think that's not good for the team overall. But yeah, that's my kind of adding point, I would say.
Okay, well, Simon Warner is saying Anana keeping a clean sheet. There's something rare. Yeah, Anana, I felt he was a little bit dodgy today, like with sort of medium to long range passing, but he was all right. Should have claimed a cross though. But I mean, you've got to remember that these friendlies are just essentially a glorified training session. And our chat sport's got something that I disagree with, where he said Mount will mostly be on the bench this season.
You disagree with that half time?
Yeah, I thought Mount was really, really good today.
I mean, he made a goal.
Yeah.
I would say he made the goal with the pass, obviously, which is, it's an assist. But the run, which pulled the defender away, where Ahmad cut him, because obviously there was two defenders.
It was a channel run,
and I would much prefer him channel running than Scott McTominay.
Exactly.
So,
Where do you see him playing then, bedtime?
I see him playing as the number 8, so the box to box midfielder.
So where does Manu play?
Well, okay. So today we saw a couple of things. One is that the young boy Murray, who was left back in the first half.
I liked him. I liked him.
He was inverting a lot to CDM, and Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka was coming inside as well. So the back four were making that 3-1 structure. So we play that kind of 3-1-6.
Yeah.
We play that structure when we're faced against a 4-4-2 block, because we've got a +1 with that 3, and then we've got one guy between the lines, and then we have 2 outside him. Mount was on the outside right of the left back, and he was able to turn and receive the ball. And I felt that Ahmad's performance in the first half was built off Mount's ability to get him the ball quickly and sharply, and then run off into spaces and give him something to work with. So as great as Ahmad was, I felt that Mount's running was a key part of why Ahmad was constantly 1v1 with a fullback with lots of different options to combine with.
So you still haven't answered me though, half time.
I think that I think Kobe. I don't think we're probably going to see as much of Kobe as we want next season.
You're crazy, bruv. You're absolutely mad.
I think he's got to be rested a little bit. I think that Kobe will play 70% of the games.
I reckon he plays 80% of the games next season.
All right, you've upped me by 10%. But look, Kobe's going to be a number 8.
Okay.
He's not going to be the number 6. He's going to be the number 8. Okay. And I think that our squad now is if we get in Agate and Zubi and Rabiot and things like this, I'm not sure if we're going to see like a kind of first 11 that we typically get with Ten Hag, where he never changes anything. I think that we're going to see players come in for certain games and things like that until they've really claimed that shirt. And I think Kobe has to go through that as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's literally just Bruno and Anana.
I think you're crazy, bruv.
That's all right.
Crazy. We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Honestly, I don't think that we saw Ten Hag with a big squad, because when he came to United, we didn't have a good bench. He was only spamming the same starting 11. Last season, everyone was injured. Kobe was thrown in as a starting number 8 or number 6 at times for us as well. But I feel that as you bedtime said, the bigger the squad is, the more he's going to use other players. Now, I don't remember him at Ajax constantly rotating, but I feel if we sign 2 more players, is it going to be Ugarte and a right back or whatever? I think we will see more rotation, but I need still with everything said, I think that it's all in our interest that Kobe Mainoo is a starting 11 player. But yeah, sometimes just rest him, especially if we have 3 games a week or something like that. I think that's
it's going to be a difficult second season for Kobe. It always happens. Garnacho had it as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kobe is taken out for 2 games and then comes into a Europa League game and Mount takes his place for those. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry. Start again. He plays the Premier League games and Mount takes the Europa League spaces.
Yeah, something like
that. All right,
that.
okay. Sorry,
Maybe the other way round.
That's not going to be the other way. There's no
it
chance
just
it's going to be the
depends.
other way around.
Because
No
we've got
chance.
competition for places, Mister.
Yeah, but you know what? There's competition for places and there's levels, and I want to see Mount. If Mount gets to that level and can keep Kobe out, then Mount is playing a lot better than I thought he would ever be playing for us.
I mean, Mount has won a Champions League and made a pretty big contribution to it. He was Chelsea's Player of the Season for 2 years in a row.
I get that,
and Kobe doesn't have a lot of experience, and the pressure's on him now. And because he's such a young player, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit more inconsistency from him next year as he learns his limits and things.
Okay.
Like he might overplay a little bit, and that he might just need to be pulled back in. There's nothing against Kobe. It's just that we're getting a more robust squad, and I think that more people are going to be used next season.
Definitely. And also, I will add on, I think it's in club's interest to see Mason Mount play because they spent 55 million on him. He has number 7. As you said that time, he's a Champions League winner. He was a Player of the Year for Chelsea. He's not a bum. At least, I mean, I never thought he was a bad player. I always felt he was a good player. So I think it's in everyone's interest to see this guy, succeed at this club. And if he, in all honesty, if he, gets in form, and is playing better for, in comparison to Kobe Mainu, I mean, I would want him to start games because, sometimes these kids get burned out. And I think we discussed it many times on this channel. But yeah, I honestly, I don't believe that will necessarily happen. But yeah, it's a possibility.
I think it's quite a high likelihood. I always go back to in Ten Hag's first season, obviously we had 2 poor results. And then the midfield for quite a long time was Bruno, McTominay, and Eriksen. And then we played against Tottenham Hotspur, and he brought Fred in. And Fred played really, really high up the pitch. And we pressed like madmen in that game. And Mason Mount is extremely good at the high press. So, and that gives you something that Kobe doesn't have, that Rabiot might not have, for example. So I think that that he gives us a good tactical option, and I'm hoping for more of that next year. But on to more important things. Bilal is a flat earther. And we got Helge back again, becoming a regular. Good evening, beautiful people. Happy to hear Eth praise Ahmad, and I trust Eric to bring him into the project. So do I, because I don't want to see this man here. Not you, Simon. Let's get rid of Anthony. Don't loan him. Just get rid of him. The bad penny will come back. And Bill's following up with his Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka comment, saying, how many times Ahmad and Wan-Bissaka lost the ball? He was bloody shaky. I didn't notice that myself, but I don't disbelieve you. We've got Grace Sheridan saying, we're winning the mini quadruple. At half time, I sent Mr. B a message saying that we're going to win the treble. I
blamed it on the leftover sangria bath time.
Yeah. And I think this is a good comment from Simon. He's saying we're gradually getting the rustiness out of our players. And that's completely true. In your the first 2 pre-season games, it's just about getting the body used to running and a bit of contact and stuff. And you just want to be assessing the physical levels of the players. I wouldn't worry too much about players having a bad touch or something like that.
We've spoken quite a bit now, and we still haven't gotten. What did you think of Yoro today, man?
All right, sorry for talking to the comments.
Sorry, no, I know what you were doing bath time, but I need to know, man. I was on the phone to one of my mates for ages talking about it. So I want to hear yours and the chat's opinion on Yoro's performance today.
There were 2 things that Yoro did that 3 things actually that I really, really liked. One Dora mentioned where he popped a big ball up to Ethan Wheatley, who flicked it on. I like a bit of Route 1 in my team. The second thing is I think it was called Dessers, the striker. Yoro defended him really well, used his body, But then as the ball was getting away, he just extended those telescope legs out and took it off him. And I thought, ooh, like that boy is levels above any teenager at centre back that I've seen for genuinely since when John Terry broke into the Chelsea team.
Wow.
Honestly, he is levels above. If you look at Will Fish, who had a good game, he's levels above him. And then the other thing that I saw, which really excited me, is when Wan-Bissaka inverted into like the sixth position.
Went outside.
Yeah, Yoro galloped up the pitch, and Martinez doesn't do that. Maguire sort of does it, but not to the same level. Willy Kambala tried to do it, but Yoro's gallop up the pitch was akin to a young Rio Ferdinand, and he carried the ball really, really well. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. But I don't get too hyped about players, but I have to say that's the best teenage centre-back I think I've ever seen. Unreal.
I mean, that's a huge praise.
I know.
I mean, I agree.
and that's what it is. We sat down there and we've watched this boy play. It was only Rangers, but you see enough in a player to understand what maybe not all the hype was about, but a lot of the hype was about. I expected him to be at 18. I expected him to be his body frame to be a lot slighter. He's a unit. He's a unit. So yeah, I think that they've done. I think they might have found one there. To be fair,
I mean he genuinely looks amazing. Like, did you see his passing, Dora?
Oh my God! I think I was in like. We have good passers from centre backs. Like Lindelof is a good passer, Maguire is a good passer. Johnny Evans is solid as well. He can do it with both legs. He's a seasoned veteran. Martinez, is praised of, breaking lines with his passes. But he's 18 years old. And I know we are going to mention it a lot this season, hopefully. But he can pass, and the way he passes, he has long balls, he has short balls, he has breaking. Like, he was very consistent with it in the first 45 minutes, and I don't feel like he put a wrong foot down. It was such a solid, good, even great performance by Leny Yoro. And of course, there are going to be situations where he would have a bad game and all that, but I feel he's one of those players, and I think he's ready, that he's going to just step up, the next game and show the world, what, I had maybe a bad game last time, and what, I will be even better right now. I will try to be the best as I can be. And I feel like he's so confident, and I really, really love that about a player, when they are so confident in their ability that, I mean, I have no more words to say for him. He looks elite. He really looks elite.
Do you think that, I understand that I normally don't really praise youth players or talk about them in this kind of way, but it is very clear to me that boy is head and shoulders over any centre-back I've seen of his age. But he was playing next to Johnny Evans, and Evans is an extremely high-level, experienced operator who commands respect. I assume none of us are, do you think we need to find a partner for Yoro, his best partner, or we need to find the best partner for Martinez? Because they might not work well together. We don't know yet.
No, I mean, why would you think that they wouldn't? I'm just going to throw. Why would you think that it wouldn't work?
Because when I saw Yoro defending Dessers, that was channel defending, right? So he was out in the channels, dealing with his men all game. When he got the ball, he was out in wide areas, like when he was running. He basically was playing as an outside centre-back. If he's the outside centre-back, you then have Martinez in the centre of the 6-yard box defending there, and
with their forwards are coming in.
I wonder if he might struggle with that. So that's why.
What part of that? Are you saying Martinez struggle or are you saying Yoro struggle?
Martinez.
Why would Martinez be struggling? He seemed to have dealt with most things sent his way when he played, and obviously the season before.
Well, not really, because he loses a lot of headers, and
He's
personally,
5'2".
yeah, well, he's not. He's 5'7". But I think that in the FA Cup final, he was very, very lucky to get away with not conceding a penalty on Haaland
For the portrait of
in
Haaland,
the first, in the first 30 seconds. And I don't think it's where you get the best out of Martinez. So what I'm interested in is who would be the best partner for Yoro to get him through games and tougher moments and things. Like, if you think it's Martinez, I've got no problem with that. But I just think that Johnny Evans probably played quite a large part in just how great Yoro looked today.
But don't you think that, I mean, we only saw 45 minutes of him today, right? But he feels like he can be one of those center backs that can do it all, right? He can pass, he can have long balls. He's really good with defending channels. He uses his body well, as you mentioned, a lot of times here. He's long, he's tall. When he gets a bit of muscle, he will be even better with headers. Who do you think? What kind of archetype of a center back is going to be good for him next to him? Because I'm trying to think right now, and there are a lot of them, right? But if he's so complete, who do you put next to him?
I think an aggressor.
Hmm.
So who?
So you don't think he would be aggressive? So I mean, I thought a couple of interceptions that he made today, he was quite aggressive with his interceptions today.
Well, I think that the best bit of defending was him covering Dessa's run and then taking the ball off him. So that's kind of like last line defending. So if you're going to be like that, you want someone in front of you. So it's similar to Rio and Vidic. Like, Rio would sort of sweep up a bit, and Vidic, if they threw a Ford Fiesta in, he'd head it away. Like, it didn't matter what was coming in. Vidic was full on Braveheart, doing everything. And so I would think that Martinez would be his best defensive partner, because Martinez can get up and be aggressive. But from what I saw from Yoro is that he's probably more in the Varane style, or he reminded me of Rudiger, actually, most of all today, in the fact that in those outside areas, it looked impossible to sort of get past him.
That's a good point. Yeah. Actually, he has a lot of shared, I would say. Help me with the word. He shares a lot with Rudiger. Attributes. Thank you. He shares a lot with Rudiger. That's for sure.
Rudiger. I'm a huge fan of Rudiger.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's just a bit silly, Rudiger, isn't he? Do you remember against Japan where he was making fun of the Japanese player as he was shepherding the ball out, and they lost to them?
Yeah, he's a bit insane in the head, but yeah, he's eccentric. But I really love the way he plays. His style of play is really good.
And the other player, there's one player that actually there are two players that really excited me today in the second half. But I think that Collier is a player that people like the look of today. Like, big number 6, very good engine. What did you think, Mr. B?
Yeah, I had a video of this guy. I've got a silent one of my boys. Anything Man United, he's a nut, but he just won't come on the show anyway. But he sent me a video maybe 6 or 7 months ago, and I sent it to him one day, and I couldn't believe that Kobe was playing and this guy wasn't playing. Now maybe it was just a progression thing, but he was so tidy on the football. But again, it's the level that he's playing at, but he just seemed to be above the clips. Again, it's just YouTube clips, but he seemed to be technically above a lot of players that he was playing against. And I think Ten Hag's now he's looking for the physical players. If you look at the height that we've increased the team by, but he's looking for technical players. He wants players who can manipulate the football and can use a football's X. He's coming in, and that's what you're hearing. He's good with the football. This young guy is good with the football. Kobe, we've seen what Kobe can do with a football already. The fact that we've got Yoro now, a centre back who will be playing those long Martinez balls from the right, the progressive long balls that Varane couldn't play.
Yeah,
we've now got. They can't cut off. It looks like maybe they can't cut off maybe Martinez to play the long ball, because guess what? If they send it to the other side, he'd be able to play it as well. So I just think that the team itself is maybe falling into a sort of system of play and a pattern of play. The only thing, Bathtub, I do want to ask you about, you were saying that we dropped into a 3-1. That's the part of the game that frightens me, because regardless of who we have in those positions, I'm not sure. I mean, today, to be fair, when Rangers broke, a lot of the team ran back, and it was nice to see that effort. So when Rangers did get there, we already had players in the box in a setup. So I don't know if that's part of the training that they've got. Rangers didn't have 25 shots against us today, which was...
That, I want to talk about that because that was brilliant. That was after a corner. And if you remember all the way back to, was it Jemba Bar who scored against us away in the Champions League from a corner, and it was just Matic or something. But what was great about that thing is that we had, it was a 2-on-3. They had two players, we had three. And then behind their two players, we saw our entire team come running in like storming the beach at Normandy or something. And all those three players then had to do was delay the guy on the ball or force him out wide. And that, honestly, was probably the most exciting thing that I saw from this game, because we showed recovery powers from our midfield, where Mount, Collier, I think Ahmad was there, and I think the young left back Murray was there in that line with Wheatley as well. And that was that's how you set up a team properly.
And you know what? Sancho was in there as well, to be fair.
Was he?
I'm sure Sancho was one of the deepest, one of the closest players to the goalie at that stage as well. So,
I think we have to credit Hake for that, because Ten Hag,
that's his shape. Yeah, that is his thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So normally what you do at a corner, right, is with this changed with Brentford have some sort of data partnership with Midtjylland or someone like that, and they basically get all their players in the opposition's final third, with two in the middle third, and every Premier League team has copied that. And what United tend to do is, under Ten Hag, we've put our best ball strikers outside the box. So if the ball falls to them, they can whack it back in. So that's players like Rashford, for some reason Anthony. I think what Hake has done is that he set us up to protect against the transition over having the better ball strikers there. So we had the players that can recover were in those positions, and that's what we saw. We saw the team recover against the transition, and it was incredibly exciting to me.
I think we remember you said that about Haka. He plays. What would you say to me? He plays a 4-4-2. Do you think that there's just bits that the managers are lending to Ten Hag's system? As in, obviously, maybe Ruud will have a little bit more input in the forward side of things, because after the game, Ruud, I didn't see him. Yeah, it's nice to see a player get the praise. Ten Hag can't praise all the players as they come off the pitch, but the fact that it was done after the pitch, where everything is still fresh in his mind, he might have said, "Oh, you scored that goal, but the chance you had before, you could have done this with, or you could." I mean, he couldn't have faulted the finishes. It looked like he really rated him for the finish. So those type of things. I mean, even Hugo, I'm interested to see what progression. He was out on loan at wherever he was out on loan last season. I didn't realize he was so tall. The team just seems to have grown a lot, Bath time.
I
know,
know,
so
which I
maybe-
like.
Yeah, so maybe we could get away with having shorter players in certain positions. If you understand, you know,
Yeah.
the whole team's not going to be 6 foot plus. We'll say 6 foot plus. But the fact that the team seems to be a lot more physical, a lot taller, a lot more imposing, is something that I'm interested to see. I mean, I don't know how tall Ugarte is. I don't know how tall.
It's 5'11".
5'11", not bad. What's the other guy? Zubamendi.
Zubi is about the same, 5'10", 5'11". But well, I think
Yeah, I mean, you know, the height. Like I said, the fact that we're getting these tall players means certain players will probably won't have to play because they were just tall.
You're talking about Scott
he's talking about
McTominay.
Yeah, no, but it's not a bad route to take. But to get back to Hake, right? So we can presume that Van der Kleg, or whatever he was called, the last assistant manager, Van der Gag, thank you. We've seen reports that he and Steve McLaren didn't get on and the squad didn't like him. And Hake has come in. But Hake, I think, has come in with a purpose and a remit. And I think that is about how he organises his teams. Because Ten Hag, whether you love him or you hate him, everyone knows that the midfield is too open and the pitch is too open when he plays. Hake likes compact teams that are hard to play through. And today we saw the first sign of it on that transition against Rosenborg. There was a 6 versus 3 during that game. All right, Rosenborg are a hell of a lot ahead of everyone else with their fitness and things. But I think that was what we saw today was an example of Hake's demand that there must be 5 people at all times in central areas, and that's kind of what we saw today. So, Dora, did you see any like organizational changes or anything that like you like the look of?
Yeah, I mean, you guys mentioned it, right? I felt that you know we are defending much better transitions. I know once again this is a preseason game, but you know even when the things got really dangerous, you know Rangers had few chances as well. Onana had to, save, and you know we already mentioned Yoro, having at least one goal saving block. He had to, in my opinion. So it's not like Rangers were just sitting back and waiting for us to beat them or whatever. They had their chances, and as you guys mentioned, I feel like we look more organized than we looked the previous season, much more. Even during the last season's preseason, even the last preseason, we look. It feels like. Even Casemiro, after like at Rosenborg game, we were, talking. He looked much more fit this game.
He was in a different position as well today. I thought.
Really?
Yeah, he played. He played
number 8.
He played
number
today.
8. You're right.
You're right. Today.
Yeah, Collier was number 6.
Do you think Casemiro stays?
Yes,
maybe.
I think he'll stay.
I just don't think that there's a lot of offers on the table for him.
Yeah, that's why.
And if we're forgiving Sancho for whatever he did, maybe we can see Ten Hag forgiving Casemiro for what he's done. And Casemiro, I would suspect Casemiro is an extremely proud man and doesn't want to have to go in exile to Saudi Arabia, having been a bit of a meme at Manchester United.
But Betty, just a question. Do you think that Ten Hag is, holding a grudge against him? He was a captain, second pre-season with Johnny Evans on the pitch.
Yeah, that's why I say I think he's been forgiven, and maybe they've had
a chat. Adult chat.
I do actually have some sympathy for Casemiro, where he played out of position as a centre back for 6 or 7 games, and then he got dropped for a loan signing in Amrabat in the cup final. And I can understand why someone would be extremely put out by that. It just like
the ends justify the means, man. We won it.
They do, but I can still understand it. And then, was there anyone else in the first half? I would like to say on Collier or whatever he's called. I thought that boy looks like he's going to be a top player, but I felt he was a little bit dopey in that game. It looked to me that he is 100% ready for a loan. Like, I don't know if he's ready for Premier League football. It wouldn't surprise me if if we keep him, we should be looking at giving people like him and Wheatley 15 games next year for their development. And if we can't do that, we need to loan them because they've got to get first team football. And I think that's the plan with what Wilcox said. And then second half, there were two players that really stood out to me. Did anyone stand out to you, Dora, in the second half?
Okay, so I think Hugo, that was a screamer, by the way. That was an unbelievable finish. But sorry, I need to see. Mr. B, go for it, because I need to find.
I've forgotten his bloody name again. The
CDM. The CDM was the guy that made the goal. His name is Oguneye.
That's the guy. That's the guy. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to say his name, but yeah, that's the one. Right?
Oguneye. Yeah. It's not that hard. I just read it.
It's Oyedele.
Oyedele. Okay, sorry. I am a Slavic person. The letters I see on my screen, I said them. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you repeat? Can you repeat?
Oyedele.
Oyedele. Okay, Oyedele. The moment he came in, he was a CDM, if I'm not mistaken. Jack Fletcher was a number 8. You will talk about it in more detail because you really liked him. I liked him as well, but you will, be more detailed. I really like the way he, even though the second half was much slower than the first half, I like the way that he passed. I like the way that he ran. I think the whole team defended quite well for the most of the game, and I like the way he transferred the ball to the other part of the pitch, and of course he made that assist. He carries a ball really well for a youngster, and I know this is once again a preseason, but the way he carries the ball, across the pitch is really promising. I mean, if he continues to progress, I think he will be a really solid player for the future. Do I think that he's a generational talent? I don't know. I haven't seen a lot. But for this 45 minutes, I was really impressed with the way he played. And I think that him and Jack Fletcher had a really great second half for Manchester United. Other people that, Hugo had that insane screamer. But I watched Harry Amas. Yeah, I think he has a great touch. He has a great technique, but I don't think I saw that much of him even this game, unfortunately. Maybe because he had a nice run. I agreed, but maybe in some other situations. Look, as you said, for for the youngsters, like Wetley and the other guy, like maybe there is a chance of Harry Amas actually featuring this season for Ten Hag. Is it going to be cup games in the early stages of the FA Cup, of the League Cup? I would love to see him there, playing for us, to see him more and, to judge him more with the way he is playing against senior players. He obviously has a great technique. He had that good run, but I don't think that these 45 minutes did him justice. And I don't think he had that much. How do you feel? Like, I just want to ask you guys, how do you feel about his defending today?
Didn't see much.
Yeah. Okay. He's definitely more of a sort of attacking player. And yeah, I think I agree with you where technically, I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush. He was very poor technically against Rosenberg, and today he was far better. So that's why you don't get too down on youngsters after 45 minutes. But I feel that he isn't physically ready for senior football. That's what I saw looking at him today. I think that he's got to bulk up, develop. I mean, he's only just 16 or something, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's no doubt that there's the foundation of a very good player there, but I wouldn't even recommend him for a loan at this point. I think that he's not physically ready for a full season of senior men's football. And there were a couple on the pitch that I felt were a bit like that. Like Ennis was another one that I felt is obviously a good player, but I don't think they have the physicality to deal with senior men's football. Whereas Oyedele, I was very, very impressed by that boy today. It is the pass he hit to Hugel. I think that's better than the finish, to be honest.
I think he waited.
Exactly.
He had Ennis on, or Ethan, or whatever his name is, on that right side, and he decided to go direct to Hugel. Yeah. He had a winger on his right, and of course the instinct of most of these players are, put the ball there, right? But he waited for Hugel's run and he pinpointed that pass, and it was really impressive to me.
And he was powerful. I also noticed that when you are trying to get 1v1s with your winger on a fullback, one rotation you do is you drop a good passer into the right centre-back position. So you'll have seen Casemiro, so you've seen Bruno and Ericsson doing this over the years. They suddenly pop up like in a right-back position. The fact that Oyedele found himself in that position a lot means that, for me, I think that's indicative that the club rate him very, very highly, and there might be a plan for him. So I would add him to Wheatley and Collier as someone that we either get a loan for to give him the experience, or he has to get a minimum of 10 starts next season, because that's what he's talented. Yeah. Well, 10 hours on the pitch, like 10-hour-long sessions on the pitch, or we loan him, because we've got Wilcox in now, and Wilcox knows what he's doing with academy players and things.
Definitely.
So, and like that thing the other day about most Champions League players in the quarterfinal have been playing since they were 17 at senior level. They've got to loan him, or they've got to give him 10 to 15 games next season, and we've got a 60-game season next year. Yeah. Europa League, and Rangers are Europa League standard. So it really wouldn't surprise me to see a kind of youth team, as it were, starting home games in the Europa League.
Do you think so? I mean, to be fair, I think they're going to make the squad strong enough so that it doesn't necessarily have to be. But maybe there will be youth team players in it. But I feel like the squad's going to be strong enough to put out a half decent. It won't necessarily be youth. It might not be as much youth as we think is going to be playing.
I mean, more a sprinkling. So, for example, you were talking about where Mount's games are going to come in. Let's take Kobe out of the team against Sporting Moscow or something, and let's get and Mount can play. Maybe McTominay can play, and then let's pop in Oyedele with them.
Yeah, I got you.
So those 3 or 4 players that stood out to me today, I think will be the ones that are kind of integrated. The way we saw, Amari Forson was given a chance, Wheatley was given a chance, towards the back end of the season. Willy Kambala was sort of given a chance as well. I think it will be a similar thing. But the one person that I think put almost the nail in their United career today was Hannibal Mabry. I was not impressed from what I saw.
What I mean, I just think he's an edgy player. I think he plays on edge. He plays with a lot of aggression, but I think there's something in there for him.
I think he's a Duracell rabbit.
Yeah, I just think that I like Hannibal. Hannibal.
So the other player that really impressed me today, and genuinely in the first 2 minutes, I was, wow, this is going to be a top player, was Fletcher. I know he's incredibly highly rated, but I understand why now.
He's huge.
Yeah, no, honestly, he was the standout player for me today of everyone. I know Ahmad and Yoro were going to do well and things, but I wasn't expecting to see such a composed midfielder with so many.
I'll have to watch the second half again, to be fair.
Well, this is the thing, Mr. B, is that when Fletcher and Odeyele were on the ball, I thought we played really, really good football. But when Hannibal Mabry came in to make the 3-1, or came in as a pivot player, I felt we were absolutely dreadful at moving the ball out.
He doesn't pass first. His first thought's not to pass. His first thought is to run, isn't it?
Yeah, and I felt that like it really stood out to me that was a player that was not in tune with the rest of his team. We know that he had problems at Sevilla last season. I get the impression that his career is coming to an end. That's always a shame to use a youth player, but I think Fletcher really, really stood out to me as the cream of the crop of what I saw today. It might be because he's left-footed and he's got a good build and he's aesthetically nice to watch. But him and Odeyele, I can understand how they've dominated games at youth level.
Yeah, you can
see it.
Oh
my God, Jack Fletcher as our Frankie de Jong. We don't have to sign Frankie de Jong. We have one at home.
Well, maybe, but I was like, it's so nice because I think when we sort of see players coming through in previous pre-seasons, like I think when we went to Australia, Garnacho was meant to start, but he overslept and he didn't play or something. We had like Anthony Elanga, who I liked as a player, but today in Collier, Odeyele, and Fletcher, I've seen really multi-talented, faceted players that can work in different areas of the pitch, and I'm really, really excited. And also, Eric the King, I haven't seen you before. Might be because he's Scottish. Fletcher actually plays for the England youth. He plays England under 19.
Yeah, they did the same thing that they did with Gray from the one that's joined Tottenham, innit?
Yeah,
their fathers are Scott. Yeah.
Traitor.
I can understand why the Fletcher twins were seen as such a big coup to take out a City, because honestly, like the first thing I saw him do was turn out in between two players, and I've been watching clips of Ugarte today, and Ugarte can't turn out the way that Fletcher did. And Odeyele turned out as well. And those two look physically ready to me. Like, so I'm really excited to see. I'd really like to see one of them take Collier's place in the first half for the next game. Like, I think they've done well enough to kind of get promoted and see how they get on. Do you know what I mean? Nothing against
Arsenal
nothing against
the next
Collier.
game.
Yeah. Like nothing against Collier, but I think that I want to see a more sort of meritocracy in the squad next year, so that players that perform well, like, keep their place. So, like, you know, Ahmad, if I see Anthony start like against Arsenal or Real Betis or something, I'm gonna be really, really annoyed, because Ahmad's done enough to stake his claim to start. And I think Collier, I think that like Odeyele and Fletcher, I think they've done enough to be a first half starter and see how they get on. And if they don't do brilliantly well, then just get Collier in.
I mean, isn't that nice? You know, we are for years we are starving for good midfielders. We had Schneiderlins, the corpse of Bastian Schweinsteiger, with no one, in the future who is going to, help this. I mean, Casemiro, overweight Casemiro, last season, rusty Casemiro, Eriksen, and then you have potentially, hopefully everything goes well with their development, potentially 3 to 4 great midfielders. And half of them are number 6, number 6 position, half of them are number 8. And it's just so beautiful to hear that coming from the United Academy. And honestly, I cannot wait to see these youngsters actually feature, in the first squad. Is it going to be in the preseason, or maybe against Newton Town, in the early stages of the FA Cup, or Huddersfield, or whatever, just throw him in and to let them show what they can do.
Yeah, I think you got to give them a chance. Like one thing that we kind of like were a bit down on with Ten Hag was treatment of players like Palestri and Ahmad. They didn't seem to get like 2 or 3 games to get. They never really was sort of given a platform where they could like show that they were good players or whatever. And Ahmad obviously took his chance against Liverpool. And he's come on today and he's really thrown a gauntlet down. So I'd like us to have a balance between what we did with Garnacho, where we played like him 30 games in a row or something, and what we did with Palestri, where we played him for like 5 minutes against Fulham. And also when you think about a player like Casemiro, he's going to be seeing these guys in training. Like he's going to know what Odeyeli and Fletcher and Kobe Mainu and the rest of them all can do, and it means he's got to up his levels. And that's the great thing is that like people always talk about how Rasmus needs a mentor or something. Rasmus doesn't need a mentor. Rasmus needs someone that's just a little bit better than him to come into the club, and that means he has to get his level up in training, and then eventually get to a point where training is harder than going and playing a football match. And the football matches become a lot easier. So very exciting day today, Mr. B.
Yeah, it's been a much more positive pre-season fixture than the last one. I mean, I would like to think that we weren't too negative in the last one, and we're not too hyped for this one. But there was a lot more positives in this game. It was an enjoyable watch. And from some of the comments that I had from you at halftime, I know you were enjoying it. Sometimes you can be fucking negative as shit, but
I can.
Your positivity really surprised me with some of the messages today by halftime. So long may it continue, man.
We played there were 2 or 3 passages of play in the first half. Like I think Wheatley had a shot basically cleared off the line from a Yoro break up the pitch. We had that flick on from Ethan Wheatley. We had the goal. There were moments where the team, I suddenly saw what the Ten Hag's plan was. Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying I'm a believer in it, but there were moments in that game that really showed me that I think that we're on the up. And as a United fan, with any pre-season friendly, what you're really looking for is some kids to come in and excite you from the youth academy, and that's exactly what we saw today, with 4 or 5 of them all showing that they've got the potential to definitely be first team players for Manchester United. So should we call it a day, gents?
Gents? Dora? Should we call it a day, gents?
The lady, the madame, mademoiselle.
Yeah, cheek. Bath time.
Look, yeah, okay. I mean,
You're one of the boys. You're like Amanda Bynes in She's the Man. You know, you're one of the boys. You know.
Do you have a lot of male friends, Dora? Because it's just less drama.
No, I mean mix of both. I am an all-around girl, I would say.
Me too. All right.
He's an all-around girl. All right, fair enough.
Look at my picture. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We may have a stream tomorrow. I'm not sure, but probably.
Hit the notification bell. That way, then you're guaranteed to have a notification, isn't you?
Yeah, and do all that liking and subscribing if you wouldn't mind. But
thank you very much.
Make sure you enjoy your weekend. So it's a good night from me
and me.
Lacu noci.
Lacu noci.